time, right? Because like right before I came out here, my husband called me. He was like, "Hey, what time you coming back?" I said, "Are you crying?" He was like, "Yeah, he over here picking on somebody." And I don't want to make you think my husband's no crybaby, because he's not. He's 6'6", 235 pounds, body like a brick car. Something like a superhero, right? But you know, every superhero has his nemesis, right? And his is my baby boy. Like right now, my son should be asleep, but he's not. He running around the house making my husband want to quit parenting right now, okay? Because everybody got something that people can pick on you about, right? Everybody got.
Hey, you guys, I'm Venus Monique from the hit crime drama Vindication, and you guys should definitely make sure you're catching the Maurice Brown Show on Roku TV.
Yeah, hello everybody and welcome to the Maurice Brown Show. We have a very special guest today on the show, a comedian with a versatile and engaging presence. As you just saw during our open, she has performed literally everywhere: comedy clubs, bars, laundromats, even office meetings, school lunchrooms, and even a subway train or two. She's unique. And her unique sense of humor, characters, and vivid storytelling makes for a show sure to keep audiences rolling on the floor. She's hosted Loudmouths on late night on Mania TV and Internet TV, TV political satire show. She was a finalist on Nick at Night's Search for the Funniest Mom in America, too. She tours playing colleges, clubs, theaters, and corporate gigs across the country. And she is also a headliner at the Punchliner Comedy Clubs on Carnival Cruise Lines. Ladies and gentlemen, with no further ado, please welcome to the show the very funny and talented Jaylyn Just Jay Bishop. What's up, Jay?
Oh, sit down. Sit down.
Hey,
how
thanks so
you,
much.
Mr. Brown?
I am doing great. I am so glad to have you on the show. You are absolutely hilarious, Jay, and I just thank you so much for being on the show. What's going on with you in the world of comedy nowadays?
Well, the Drybar special just came out on December 14th. And thank you, everybody who watched it. And that's all 5 of y'all. I appreciate y'all. They just keep watching it and watching it, those 5. So they bringing the numbers up.
Yes.
And then on the ships, I work for Carnival Cruise Line and doing clubs around Los Angeles now.
Okay.
I'm actually at the Chateau, which is one of the brand new clubs in Los Angeles. I'll be there tomorrow night on Thursday, and then I'll be there on Saturday, which is the 18th and the 16th. I'll be there.
Okay, awesome. I want to talk a little bit more about the Drybar comedy special a little bit later on in the show, but I do want to ask you this. Coming out of the pandemic, okay, you know, we were all shut down during it. I didn't do very much comedy at all. None of us did. But how do you think comedy looks now coming out of the pandemic? Has it changed much? The same? What's your opinion?
Oh, I think it's definitely changed. I think that comedy was getting to the point where angry comedy, like nobody likes an angry clown. Don't nobody want to hear no angry clown. Like the happy, like that kind of clown everybody loves. The angry clown that just comes up and throws water in your face. You be like, dude.
Right.
That's from 1988. And I think right now, people, because they were away from joy and laughter for a long time, not everybody, but some people were really away from that now people don't want to hear the angry comedy. They want to hear, make me laugh, but make me think and make me happy. And that's what comedy should do. We should be healing with laughter, not sadness. It shouldn't be this sad comedy. Nobody cares that you don't like your grandma. Don't nobody care about
No, nobody really cares about that, Jaylyn. And I tell you something else too. You mentioned this a moment ago about the fact that people first, number one, people just want to get out of the house, and they're coming out and they're ready to laugh. They're ready to have fun. Audiences, I've noticed, are way more responsive from the top when you start your set versus how it was before COVID. So people are ready. They're ready. So it's easier on us for one because of that.
Yeah.
And, I think that, the angry stuff, there's only been a couple of comedians actually to pull that off. Sam Kinison being one. There's not a lot of comics that can do that. So, you want to stay away from that if you can. I like what you said about that. What about Zoom?
Well, Kinison, I want to jump back to Kinison wasn't angry.
Yeah.
Kinison was vocal, but he wasn't angry. He was, because he was very loud. But you notice, like, he giggled a lot.
He did actually.
He giggled a lot. He wasn't angry. Like, when I think of like an angry comic, I think of angry and maybe angry and rude. I think of Lisa Lampanelli. Like, Lisa doesn't laugh during. Well, new Lisa does. New Lisa. Because now new Lisa's gay now, so new Lisa is she different now.
Yeah.
Maybe men just made Lisa angry.
Yes.
But women bring her joy. Women bring her joy. So she's different. But I think of those guys that would just say Andrew Dice Clay. Yeah. Angry and mean and rude. That kind of stuff isn't working anymore. It's not.
Yeah.
And stuff's not working anymore.
Say that again. What's that?
And the black-white stuff's not working anymore. They're allowing, I would say even the white comics, they're not allowing the white comics to really, you cannot go in on any nationality if you are white, except for a lighter white person. Yeah.
And I think that I like what you said about the angry part. That's a very good point. Sam Kinison was portraying an angry individual, but the performer himself was not angry. And so you're right about that.
Yeah, so you saw the joy in that. You saw that he still had, and I think you could still, say whatever you want, but you still have to bring a joy to stand up, because stand up is a joyous platform. And I think that when we do bring a joyous platform to it and let that joy and that light go through, no matter what you're saying, you can get with it. It's not that cancel culture. Nobody wants to cancel you because everybody's like, oh, okay, he's just kidding.
Yeah.
The new kids don't know jokes. They don't know jokes, so they get it when you say with a smile. Like if you say, "Give me all your money," they were like, "Okay."
Yes.
You can take my phone. The new kids get it.
That's right. And even Richard Pryor, going back to his day, you knew that Richard, something made you feel comfortable about him in the midst of all the expletives and everything that was coming out of his mouth. He was just kind of telling his truth. He wasn't mad at anybody. And so I like what you're saying. It's not about coming out there and just dropping your personal issues of life on people. Nobody wants to hear that, Jay.
It's not a TED Talk. It's not a TED Talk, folks.
It's not a TED Talk. So let me ask you about this. During the pandemic, we had to resort to Zoom comedy. A lot of comedians who wanted to stay in the mix. Some comics just said, look, I'm not doing that. What was your view on doing Zoom comedy during the pandemic?
I tried Zoom comedy, and then there was a kid. I was doing Zoom colleges, and there was a freshman, maybe, because she could have been no senior because she didn't have no sense. She was doing something weird with a cat up under a blanket, and then I said, you know what? This isn't for me. This isn't for me. Because Zoom comedy was like going to the gym and just walking around the equipment. Like you don't touch nothing, you just walk around, or drinking a Diet Coke with no diet in it. Like it was like, it was terrible. It was stevia. It was comedy light. It wasn't the business. No, I didn't like it because I don't think the audience comedy, even when you would listen, like if you listen to Pryor or radio, you know, back in the day, it still had a setup punch to it. And you still understood when, oh, this is when I laugh. Oh, this is when I do this. Zoom comedy didn't give you that. So you didn't know, oh, and it was a lot of people that don't go out of the house, a lot of people that don't watch comedy, and a lot of people that don't ever laugh. That we got on it. So it was weird. It was like doing jokes to caveman. They didn't understand it. It was not, it wasn't a business. I did it for like, maybe I did it for the money. I ain't gonna lie. I ain't gonna lie.
I understand. I totally understand. And I didn't like it either. And I couldn't get away from it soon enough. Now that we're back out and doing comedy. One of the other things that developed because of the pandemic was an increase in outdoor shows. How do you feel about that part of it?
Well, I'll take a drink of my little. I drink everything out of wine glasses.
Okay.
Everything.
I got you.
This is sparkling water.
Yes.
And I drink everything out of wine glasses because I'm fancy like that. I'm fancy.
Yes.
Water, wine glasses, milk, wine glasses. I'm fancy.
Yes, ma'am.
And you can't be fancy in an outdoor show.
No.
I can't be fancy. I'm fancy. I think it just depends. Like the outdoor shows, as long as everything is set up perfectly, because comedy, we don't need a whole lot of stuff to do comedy. You need a mic, a sound system, and some lights. That's it.
Yeah.
I think the only other thing that you can do outside that easy and that cheap and still have a great time is basketball. All you need is a basketball and something to throw the ball in. You don't even need a basket. All you need is like a trash can and you still have a great time.
Yes. Yes.
So outdoor comedy, I think it's cool as long as you have those things. And the sound system has to be where everybody can hear it. It can't just be where the first row can hear it. And it has to be intimate.
Absolutely.
When it's in an intimate setting, like if it's somebody's small backyard, it's cool. But right after I did America's Funniest Mom, I did Wyoming's Frontier Days.
Okay.
And it was outside in a huge venue that was like, it was like a stadium, but it was a rodeo kind of like thing going on. And there was rodeo stuff happening. There was, you know, they had a pig chase over on one side, and I'm dead smack in the middle on a stage that is huge.
Yeah.
People walking past, sword fighting. It was crazy. That kind of thing can hurt your soul.
Yeah.
It can wreck your soul. But the coolest thing about that show is like, I get off the show and there's these people, about 30 people in the back, and I can see them. They're like a football field away from me. And I'm just like, there's only 30 people watching, but this has hundreds of people at it.
Yeah.
After I get off, I like slap it off the stage, like, oh, I'm never doing this again.
Yeah.
And this little girl runs up. She says, "Hey, my grandma wants to see you." I was like, "Her grandma?" Go over to the 30 people, and they were the 30 people way in the back.
Yeah. And
the grandma's crying when I get there, and I'm like, "Oh God, I did so bad that this lady is
done now." Yeah.
And she said, the first thing she said to me was, "My husband would be so thankful." And I was like, "Oh, well, where is he?" And she said, "Well, he passed away 2 weeks ago, but he's the reason why you're here." And I was like, "Huh?" And she said, "Yeah, we watched America's Funniest Mom." And he said, "Man, if I ever get a chance to see that girl, I would go." So he rallied for me to come to Frontier Wyoming Days. And I was able to do it. The 30 people was his family. And so I never really look after that moment. I never look at a show like it's so terrible. Even with the Zoom shows, or if you're outdoors or you're in a laundromat or you're wherever, there's one person that you're sent there to do healing for. And I believe that comedy is healing. So
wow. Great statement.
That was an amazing thing for me.
That is a great statement. That's where you have to kind of get over yourself
For
Have
sure.
some, you know what I'm saying, and be humble and appreciate the craft for what it is. You have a job to do, and you got to embrace it. And it doesn't always turn out the way you want it to.
Of
But
course.
one thing for sure is you did your thing, you let it rip, and it did affect somebody. You don't always see that person that you affected in a positive way, but they're always out there. So I like that, what you just said, Jay. There's always someone that can appreciate what you're doing. And as we talk about just comedy in general, the ups and downs of it, it's like most people think we're crazy for doing what we do, getting up there and try to make a room full of strangers laugh. I mean, most people would never dream of doing the kind of thing that we do. What is it, Jaylyn, that motivates you to get up there on that stage and make a bunch of strange people, most of which you probably would not have a conversation with them at a McDonald's if you didn't have to? But this next 40 minutes, you're going to be my best friend. What motivates you to do that?
I believe I came to this planet to make people laugh.
Okay.
I don't have any other special skill
Okay.
other than bringing joy, and learned that at a really young age. There's 7 of us, and believe me, when there's 7, you don't stick out unless you're making somebody giggle.
Right.
And it was one of those things where that's how I I just had so much joy from making other people laugh. Like when I see people laugh, it makes me laugh. Yes. I'm the kind of person, like, if you start crying right now, I'll be like, why are you crying? You know, we both crying. Like, if you cry, I cry. If you laugh, I laugh. So that I came here. I know that me and the Almighty, we had a conversation. He said, what you want to do? I said, I want to make people giggle. He was like, cool, you down. I said, but please, don't make me do it on Zoom. And he said, it's going to be a couple of years, but you're still going to have to do it. No.
Yeah. Well, you know, and the thing is, like I said, it's a very fearful thing. We don't, as comedians, it's not a big deal for us. It's like that. We can't wait to get up there. We want to get up there and do it. And so we're just kind of wired differently. But when you're doing comedy, one of your goals is to be a headliner one day. You want to be the person that everybody came to see. How long, Jaylyn, did it take for you to reach that point in your comedy career?
My comedy career is so weird that people think that it's not true. Again, and that's how I say I know that I was destined and born to come and do this. I was one of them kids that used to stay up late and get a spanking for watching the late night talk shows.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm one of those kids.
And then, like, you know, I can't remember any cartoons or anything like that, but I can tell you I can verbatim who was on the Tonight Show back in, you know, I can tell you that because I loved comedy. So I would watch it all the time. And my sister was a model, and she said, I said, this is so easy. And I just finished college, and my sister was like, oh, it's not that easy. I was like, modeling is easy. Girl, all you got to do is put on somebody else's clothes. So she said, well, if you can't do it, I'm going to pick your career for you. And I was already banking at the time. I was already in banking, and I hated it. You knew I hated it. So I started modeling, and they gave me my money back. I won a new face competition, and they gave me my money back. And I didn't even pay for it. And they said, you were too animated and too silly. So my sister said, you're going to do comedy. And I was like, oh, I don't think I can do comedy because I don't think I'm going to make any money. And she was like, oh, you're going to do comedy. But I was already bouncing at a comedy club. Yes, I know I'm not that big, but I am like a junkyard dog, baby. I will be a chihuahua on you in a second.
Yes, ma'am. I believe you. Yes, ma'am.
And so I was bouncing at the comedy club. She called up the club and said, Jaylyn said she's the funniest person ever. And she's funnier than every comic you have there. The owner calls me in and says, hey, did you say you're funnier than everybody? And I said, no. And she said, yeah, your sister said you were. And I was like, huh? So they gave me 1 week to get on stage. That next Tuesday, I got on stage. And because I was always asking questions, the comedians kind of helped me write, the jokes, and I got myself together, and I went up on stage and did 3 minutes. And when I got off that 3-minute set, I said, I needed 5. And right when I got off, a woman came up to me and she said, May Williams, who's a comedian in Denver, she came up and said, hey, can you open up? She said, how many minutes do you have? And I lied and said 15, and I only had 2. And she said, you got 15 minutes? I said, yeah. And she said, okay, well, Friday, I want you to open up for me. I thought she meant like another Friday. This was Tuesday.
Yeah.
And she said, I want you to open up for me. So I went to a college, opened up. Them kids hated me. Are we both glitching out, or am I having a stroke? Because I feel like I glitch, you frozen. Now I'm gone. Now I'm back. Now you back. Am I? Okay. Let me see what this. Let me smell this. Yeah, this ain't alcohol. I was thinking, is this alcohol?
Yeah, your screen is freezing on my end, but I'm now I've lost you completely. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are attempting to talk with comedian Jaylyn Bishop on the Maurice Brown Show. You can see her Drybar comedy special. Very funny lady. Hopefully we could get her back on. Having issues with our internet connection, and there is Jaylyn. She is back.
I was like, what happened? No, so I got back to the story. That was Tuesday. On Friday, I opened up for this lady for 15 minutes. It was terrible. The kids were throwing popcorn at me. And she told me, just do your time. I have never cashed. It was a $500 check. I have never cashed that check to today because I knew I did not deserve that check. Yeah. So right after that, I started emceeing a lot at the club that I was at. And then within a year, I was already emceeing around emceeing in clubs. So mine went pretty fast. The career just, and headlining, to me, when people say, well, are you a headliner? You just keep leaving. This story must be boring, because when you leave on the internet, the story's boring.
Yeah, wow, it's crazy, Jaylyn, because everything seems to be good on my end. I could see you pretty good. I don't know what's going on there, but it's an amazing story.
I don't know what's happening.
Well,
should I just keep talking? I don't know what's happening.
Just keep talking, because you're coming over fine on my end. Well, we just lost you that time again. So hopefully we can get this rectified with comedian Jaylyn Bishop, and this folds right in with comedy. You got to love it. Hopefully we can get these glitches ironed out, because she's got a great story. And that's kind of how comedy is. You start out and you think, oh, I'm going to be the best of all time. And then you get your first gig and you bomb, and you bomb after that. And that's what happened to Chris Rock. He actually killed his first 9 or 10 times out. And then he just started to bomb with regularity, great regularity. So the lesson to the story is there is a lot to learn about stand-up comedy. Stand-up comedy, pardon the pun, is not a joke. It's real. It's difficult. It's a challenge. Good to see you back, Jaylyn. I was just kind of piggybacking on your story in that comedy is a skill and a craft. You can have the ability, but being able to perform at a high level on stage takes time and study and work, and it's a process.
Of course. And you know what? I think when people say headliner, I think that, and this is for the comics that feel like they're not at the headline position. Anytime you go last, you're headlining. Yeah. That's the way. And that's what I would always think. When I did bar gigs and I would be last, or I did, co-spot, I would say I'm headlining. And every time you get up on stage, you're headlining, because you're the only one on that stage at that particular time. So they did come to see you at that minute.
They did.
So,
and I think that what you're doing is amazing. What you're doing
our
right
internet
now,
must be fist fighting.
it must be. It's got to be. And I tell you what we're going to do. What we're going to do. What we're going to do, Jaylyn, we're going to refresh. I'm going to refresh on my end. Maybe that's what's going on here. Just stay right there. Everybody stand by. We will be back in just a second. We are going to and so we are back, and that should do it. Hopefully, Jaylyn will be back with us. She was talking about her first experience as a comedian. She had the goods, and then all of a sudden, she had an opportunity and bombed. And they were in front of a college, and they're throwing popcorn at her and so forth and so on. And all of a sudden, it didn't turn out that well, but she stayed with it, and she's a headliner today. She's got a Drybar comedy special, which you can see. Just go to drybarcomedy.com and type in Jaylyn Bishop. You're going to love it. She is absolutely hilarious. And hopefully we can get her back on the show. We're just talking about, and then, in this age of heckling, Chris Rock, as we all know, was slapped by Will Smith. So heckling has been taken to another level now in our culture. And Chris Rock was just a beast. The fact that he was able to take that and continue on the Academy Awards, at the Oscars, and keep it moving. And that was something for a lot of comedians to learn from in maintaining your composure. But how did he do that? That came from years and years and years of experience. Brad Stein, who is a comedian that you can see at Promise Keepers. He's a hilarious Christian comedian. He and I worked together. Oh my gosh, it must have been 12 years ago. And I invited him to do a show. He got off the plane and he looked at me and he said, "You're black." Yes, Brad, I've been black for quite a long time, like my entire life. He had no idea that I was a black guy. So I had him headline at a black show. And he's up here. This guy is performing in front of all these black people, and all of a sudden, he's bombing. It didn't take, Jaylyn, I'm telling a story about Brad Stein that I invited to headline at one of my comedy shows that I produce. He didn't know I was a black guy. He got off the plane. He goes, "My God, you're black." Yes, I've been black my entire life, Brad, as a matter of fact. Anyway, it was a black crowd he was performing for, which he didn't expect. And he started to bomb immediately. And you know what he did, Jaylyn? He did a pivot. And for the next 30 minutes, he killed. It was amazing.
Yes.
And I just couldn't believe it. And after the show, of course, I was glad he did it. But I said, "How did you do that?" He said, "Maurice." And this was 10, 12 years ago, Jaylyn. He said, "Maurice, I've been doing this for 17 years, man. I've seen it all." And I went, whoa. Just to piggyback on what you were saying, Jaylyn, about how you started. It's like, it's a skill. It's a skill. It's a skill. It's a skill. And you got to work at this thing and you got to perfect it. And then you still never really truly perfect it, but you're always growing as a comedian.
Definitely. Because it's every day. Like people go, "Oh, I don't bomb. I haven't bombed." Yeah, every day you can bomb,
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Any given audience you can bomb, any given time. You don't know I think when you don't do one of three things, when you don't say the joke, be the joke, and become the joke, that's when you get in a chance, you get in the gray area of definitely bombing. And when you're just up there, not even you're not there, you're just going through the motions. You got definite chance to bomb. But when you're there and you're present and you're like, "This is the first time I told this joke," even if you told it 1,000 times, or the first time you told this story, it brings a different joy to it, and people want to listen to it. Nobody wants to listen to the same old story over and over again.
No, they don't. And the next question. I mentioned while we were trying to get this together, I mentioned Chris Rock's experience on stage with Will Smith. And, heckling is a part of the comedy game. But ever since this particular incident, heckling has actually gone to an even uglier level now. Other people think they can go up there and maybe, hit the comic or what have you. How do you deal with hecklers at shows?
Well, for all those watching, if you hit me, I'm going to beat your A. I'm going to beat. It ain't going to be. You're going to get a nice round A kicking.
Yes, ma'am. Absolutely.
Because ain't no jokes after a slap.
Well, that it's not. That's why we have to give Chris Rock a ton of credit for him to maintain his composure like that and finish the show like a pro. I think that was like a teaching seminar for all comedians as far as maintaining your composure. Amazing.
Well, I think what it taught me that Will Smith slaps like a 5-year-old. Because
that's one thing. That's one thing for sure. Yes.
Because Chris Rock is smaller than me. So Chris Rock did not even do that. He just went, okay. And kept on talking. So I was like, Will Smith can't be in no more macho movies. He got to play the grandpa now because nobody is scared of Will Smith no more. Not if you could knock Chris Rock down, I know you can't knock me down. I ain't worried about it.
That's true.
I'll go up to him and smack just out of him because I'm like, this is for Chris, because Chris didn't hit you.
Yes.
But I really think that two things, that it really shocked some people, and now some people have a better understanding of what we go through. So some people gave you more respect. Because getting hit and still doing your job and not firing off, he could have destroyed Will Smith with words. He's a wordsmith.
He could have. Yeah.
He could have made Will Smith and Jada Pinkett start fighting right then.
He could have.
I would have liked it better if Jada would have got up and slapped him. I would have been like, "Oh, Jada, go, Jada!" And if she knocked him down, I'd be like, "Ha!"
Yeah. Well, no, Jada would have. She would. Yeah. Well, Jada would have not. She would have knocked him down.
Yeah, she would have knocked him down because she ain't playing with that G.I. Jane hair. But I think that it gave people a respect for comics, understanding what we have to go through on a daily. And it also gave some people the courage to feel like I should go up and do whatever. So in that regard, it also gave comics the stand to tell people, hey, I'm up here telling jokes, but I'm not a puppet. So don't come up here trying to play no strings. And a lot of comics people have to understand, because a lot of people think, oh, if you tell jokes, you're not, we don't normally look like athletes. We're not the prettiest girls on the planet. We're not the most handsome guys. That's not what most comics look like. We're average Joes, out of shape, skinny, funny shape, funny looking. That's what we are. So most people don't think of us as, oh, I can protect myself. But what they forget is that we are working late nights, coming off with money. Sometimes you got to travel from state to state before you can get, back in the day, before you could get your money to a bank. So a lot of us can protect ourselves. And I don't think a lot of people thought of it like that. And now a lot of people are understanding, unless you tell jokes, don't come up on this stage, because there will be consequences. There'll be, you're going to get people didn't think that Jamie Foxx would put hands, but Jamie Foxx, when the dude jumped on Dave Chappelle, that was Jamie Foxx was the person that came up and lit him up. That was Jamie. So, and now comics are also taking care of themselves to make sure they can protect themselves. And they're getting security in a lot of the clubs, which we needed a long time ago.
I would agree with that. They've always been out there. These kind of people have always been out there. And usually with words, we've been able to kind of get them to go away. Most of the time. But now we're in this era of, okay, now other people feel because of what more people are doing it. But I like what you said. I mean, it's kind of that element's always been there, and you have to like have a way. How am I going to handle this? I'm going to put this guy back in his place, or how do I get him to go away? I saw Richard Pryor do a show in 1971, I want to say, in Santa Barbara, California. And Richard Pryor was becoming the new Richard Pryor because he had been the clean guy in all these clubs, and he realized, hey, this is not who I am. When he decided during the Jesus Revolution, as it were, in the late 60s and early 70s, he's doing this show in Santa Barbara, and he's killing. But you know what I noticed, Jay? After the laughter kind of died down and he transitioned to another joke or whatever, there were like a group of dedicated hecklers in the back of this auditorium.
Wow.
And what I noticed was about Richard Pryor at that time, again, going back to experience, seasoning, being on stage, who knows how many times. It didn't affect him at all. And every now and then, and I do mean every now and then, he would, kind of fry them and go back to his set. But he really didn't pay them any mind. And he continued to dominate throughout the show. And I just thought that was kind of weird. Wow, Richard Pryor getting heckled at a big show? Yes. But, comics back then, they just kind of knew how to keep it moving and still dominate the room. And eventually the hecklers would go away. They just went away.
It just depends on how you can, like, I got heckled like twice in my career that I did. One stunned me. Like, I didn't know the guy was a comedian. We're in Philadelphia. I don't know the guy's a comedian. And I say something and he roast me. Like I'm just standing with the mic like, I had nothing to say. I kept trying to come back at him and he just roasted me. So after that, I was like, okay, I am going to put in my arsenal where I give them 3 chances. And then after those 3 chances, I will volley. I call it a 3 volley. And after those 3 chances, I'm going to take your head off. So I made sure I had jokes ready. I had stuff prepared. Never happened until one day I'm doing a show and Mike Epps is on the show. And Talent is on the show. And Artie Robb. Okay. And they are killing this guy. I've been doing stand-up maybe 2-3 years. I come out after these guys because they were telling me, oh, you have to get stronger. You got to get stronger. So we're going to put all the strong guys in front of you and then you're going to come out. And I'm like, wow. So they put all these strong guys up. This guy is so mad. He's bubbling. Yeah. When I come out, I have on these skirts. So it looks like a skirt, but it's shorts. And I come out and I'm like, the guy immediately starts like screaming and yelling. And I'm thinking, what do I do? All the jokes I have ready, nothing. So the guy has these like doo-doo braids, but they have little rubber bands around them. So I said, look, sir, I'm sorry that you and your daughter get your hair done at the same place. She probably wants her little rubber bands back. Now he's really bad. Now he's screaming out stuff about he's gonna come up and he's gonna slap me. He's gonna come up. He's gonna shoot me. So now all these guys are in the wings, like ready to beat this guy down. And I said, sir, I know that you are used to beating women. I can tell, but all I have on is a Wonder Bra, sir. And I was like, and it's not gonna. And Wonder Bras don't deflect bullets. Now this guy, he's even madder. So he stands up and he takes out a gun.
Oh my goodness.
And he said, I'm going to shoot you right between your Wonder Bra. And I said, wait a minute. Now the audience is like, I go, wait. Security is coming. I said, wait, guys, wait. I said, sir, if I can say one phrase that gets everybody in here to want to come and beat you down, will you put the gun away? And if not, you can shoot me right in front of everybody. I'm not going to say nothing. We were in Patterson, New Jersey. I said, I'm not going to say nothing. I'm not going to do nothing. I'm cool. He said, bet. So he puts the gun on the table. I go right up to his table because they would have round tables. I go up to the table. There's about 300 people in here. I go up to the table. I put my leg on his table. And I said, I will give anybody in here some that beat this dude down. The whole audience stood up and people started walking towards him. I said, well, looks like I won, snatched the gun and walked off.
Oh, man. Oh, my gosh. Oh, my gosh. That right there. And I mean, that's amazing. That is absolutely amazing, Jay, that it got to that level. And I'm sure it's happened at other, spots where somebody took a gun out or whatever. But I mean, and that's the kind of thing that we deal with as comedians. We don't know what people are going to do. We have no idea what they're going to do. When someone gets that look in their eye, or they say, I was doing a show once and everybody was having a good time except one person, and he looked like he wanted to come up there and kill me. And I'm going, what's wrong with this guy? But I immediately just said, let me just focus on the people that are having a good time. And I just forgot he was even in the room. I just forgot he was there, but I just thought to myself, what is this guy thinking? Is he going to meet me in the parking lot or whatever? You just don't know what people are going to do. You just don't. And that's one of the things that we deal with as comedians. I'm sorry, go ahead, Jay.
I was thinking, to your point, I was thinking that a lot of times comedians, I know I used to do it, I would focus on the guy that wasn't having a good time. I'm focused on the lady whose arms are crossed. And once I started getting on the ships, I literally started to understand everybody, that same guy that's sitting there looking like he's about to kill you, he could be having the best time of his life. They laugh different. Some people laugh like this. Some people are like, that's hilarious.
Yeah.
I love it. Some people are out on the floor. Some people have their arms crossed, but they are enjoying themselves. And once I started seeing that and really getting to experience that, because we do 5 shows on the ships, 5 30-minute shows, each different. I was able to watch and look around and see the people. Then I would see you up at the buffet and I'm like, oh, that's the same dude. He got the same look on his face. Oh, that's his look. That's what he do. And that opened up a world for me that I no longer play to the person that I think is angry, because they may not be angry at all.
They may not.
Yeah, I do what you do, and I just play to everybody else. And if they are angry and they are irritating me, or annoying me because I can't finish, I literally ask them. I say, sir or ma'am, do I know you? And then if they say no, I'm like, oh, because you acting like I peed in your cornflakes this morning. And then they will normally say, oh, I'll be like, what's wrong? And I will sit down on the stage, say, tell me what's wrong. and people will, or I'll come down and be next to the person and say, you need a hug. And sometimes people were like, yes. One lady said, yes, I need a hug. I said, well, come here, let me hug you. And I gave her a hug. I said, are you all right? She said, yeah, I'm much better. And then I went back up on stage and started doing jokes. And she fell out. She was laughing and having a good time.
Yeah, that is utterly amazing. And over the years in comedy, you learn so many different things. And I'm wondering, Jay, for someone as funny as yourself, and you're quite accomplished as a comedian, what is the biggest thing that you have learned about the craft of comedy? After all the things you've experienced, what's the biggest thing you've learned that's made you a better comic?
That comedy's not for me.
Oh my goodness.
The laughter is not for me. That the laughter is for the person.
Okay.
That you're giving it to.
Yeah.
And that it's the joy is not for you. The joy is for whoever you're giving it to, and that it's a gift. And remember that it is a gift. It's not a talent. It's not a skill. It's a gift. It was a gift that was given to you, and you give gifts away. And when you understand to give that gift away, that's when your gift can be multiplied. And that's the biggest thing I learned over the years. I used to do jokes for me, and used to think, oh, this is the way that because I like to feel with the comedy. I love the laughter. Because to me, laughter, I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't sleep with people's husbands, because I haven't found one that was good enough to sleep with yet. But don't mean that I won't, but I haven't found one yet.
Okay.
But comedy is my vice. That's my thing. You know, I love that. And I thought, oh, it's for me. It's for me to feel like this. And when I started understanding that it was truly a gift, that I could make all these people, I could make people on the ships, they don't speak English.
Yeah.
But they're laughing. They can't hear, but they're laughing.
Interesting.
They're in a wheelchair, but they're laughing. They are disabled and they're laughing. Mm-hmm. Then I realized, oh, I didn't develop this. I didn't create it. Mm-hmm. I came to this planet with this. This is a gift. Now I had to be willing to let the gift shine. Yeah. But when I let the gift shine, I realized that my gift will make room for itself. And I now understand that. And every time I get to get on stage or get to even make people laugh, or, you know, or get to be on a platform where people are going to know more about laughter and know more about comedy, I'm very grateful, because I understand that my gift has given me the opportunity to do that.
Yes. Now, I want to ask you this, because we had spoke before, prior to actually doing the show, that after witnessing your Drybar comedy special, for myself personally, which I thought was hilarious, I asked you to be on the show, and you were telling me that, you know, clean comedy is not your wheelhouse. I'm interested to know what motivated you to take on the clean comedy challenge by doing a Drybar.
Well, I think all comedy is my wheelhouse. So what my thing is, I've never wanted to get pigeonholed into any set comedy. So that's why I said clean comedy is not my wheelhouse. It is all comedy is my wheelhouse, because I can do a blue comedy show just as well as I can do a church show, just as well as I can do a college, just as well as I can do corporate. So for me, that means all comedy, all brands. Like, I don't do Black comedy nights. I don't do Latin comedy nights. I don't want to do Baby Mama Monday. I want to do, you know, I'm not doing Baby Mama Monday, Refried Fridays, you know, Side Chick Thursdays. I'm not doing, I don't do any of those type of comedy rooms, because I don't want to get pigeonholed into doing, people go, oh, Jay only does this, Jaylyn only does that. No, Jaylyn can do any type of show, anytime, any place. And that's the reason why I said I just don't do clean comedy, because if we was up here smoking cigars and drinking and talking trash, I'm going to be able to do that. You know, if we're talking about astrophysics, I'm going to be able to do that. I'm going to have a good time at wherever I'm at, because again, it's a gift, and your gift is good enough for every room.
Yes, it is, and I like looking at versatility on stage. I myself am a clean comic, and however, I appreciate humor. I appreciate good comedy. So there are many different types of comedians that I watch. I love watching Dion Cole. Dion Cole is one of the funniest comedians around today, to me. As a stand-up, I think, and so, you know, because I think when you become a craftsman, whatever your craft is, you appreciate it for what it is.
Definitely.
And you know when it's being done at a high level, Jaylyn. You know what I'm saying? You know when it's being done at a high level. And so I do appreciate that, and I definitely appreciate you being on the show. My gosh, I had so many other things that I wanted to ask you. Our hour has just kind of gone right by on us. I wouldn't mind having another convo with you down the road, because There are a lot of things that I kind of wanted to talk about, but I do want to ask you this before we get out of here. And you kind of answered it, but I guess I'll just be more specific with it. What kind of advice would you like, or could you possibly leave with young comedians that are out there right now thinking about making a career of this?
I would give you the advice that my grandmother gave me.
Okay.
Take nobody's advice, baby. Because their advice don't matter, because they don't matter. Don't let nobody say, can I give you a little bit of advice? Say no. Keep your opinions to yourself, because I already got enough stuff in my head. Thank you. But good night. Bye-bye. That's what she was saying all the time.
Yes.
So I give nobody advice.
Okay.
Because the advice that you need, you already have.
Yeah.
You need advice, you go to, like, if you need advice to get in a club, you go to the GM. Don't go to the comedian, go to the GM. Go to the wait staff. Don't go to the comedians, go to the wait staff. Say, how did you get it? You know, what kind of comedians do they like here? Who does well here?
Yeah.
And then craft yourself around that. Go to the GM. How do I get on this? Wherever you want to go to the people that run it. Don't go to the comedians to get advice, because everybody ain't your friend.
Yes.
And then take no advice that doesn't, serve you. Like, if it doesn't, I'll ask people their opinion sometime. And then I learned to stop doing that. Stop asking people for their opinion, because it don't matter. If you want to know where to go and how to go, then truly pray on it.
Yeah.
Meditate on it.
Mm-hmm.
And let the Almighty tell you where to go. Because he's going to send people to you. He or she, however you believe, is going to send people to help you navigate that world. So you don't have to ever worry about asking nobody for no advice.
No,
nobody's
you don't. And,
but your own.
Well, that's 100% correct. And I remember two stars that made a statement regarding that, and it was Denzel Washington and Steve Martin.
Wow.
And yeah, Denzel and Steve Martin on certainly, without question, separate occasions, arbitrarily made the comment that don't worry about promoting yourself. If you're good and develop yourself at whatever it is you're trying to do, they'll come find you.
Oh,
they'll come looking for you.
Yeah, that's the second time I heard that this week. That must be for me.
Yeah.
My manager told me that yesterday. I was like, oh my God, I'm trying to get into the clubs now, and blah, 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 blah. And he was like, Jaylyn, go do what you do. And if you do what you do, you ain't got to worry about that. They'll come find you. Don't worry about that. Like,
they will.
Okay.
Yeah.
So see how you get, won't he do it? Won't he do it?
Won't he do it, Jay? Won't he do it? And that's what it comes down to. A lot of people will try to go out and promote themselves. Look what I'm doing. I'm doing this, that, and the other, and so forth. I had a friend that got himself a 45-minute gig in Vegas. Wasn't near ready. Matter of fact, he didn't have 10 good minutes. He didn't have 10 good minutes. And he did a 45-minute gig. He got it and fell right on his face. You know what I mean? And it's just about, first of all, staying in your lane, knowing who you are, and perfect the lane you're in before you try to get into the next one. And it's just a process, it's just a process. But coming from Denzel Washington to Steve Martin, it means a heck of a lot more than making an arbitrary statement. They're proof positive. And so, yeah, they are living proof that someone will come and find you. Believe me.
And Denzel, if you watching, you can come find me. You and Pauletta. Come on.
Hey, Jaylyn, listen, how can fans follow you on social media or contact you by website and hire you for a show?
Oh, you could hire me through social media. Because I'm going to use my website down right now. Let me tell you, I took that website down. I was paying so much money to get a website, to have a website, and nobody ever went to it. So I was like, this doesn't make any sense. So I still got the domain name, but I ain't got nothing up there. So don't even worry about it. So you can contact me by Jaylyn Bishop on every platform. So that's Jaylyn Bishop, like the church. On TikTok, I think I'm comedian Jaylyn Bishop on TikTok, but I got 5 fans and I never go on it. So, okay, and 5-year-olds ain't booking for shows. So I don't really worry about TikTok. But Facebook, Jaylyn Bishop, and Instagram, same Jaylyn Bishop. Twitter, I can't type that fast. So don't even talk to me on Twitter because I'm not going to talk back. And LinkedIn, LinkedIn, same thing, Jaylyn Bishop. And, holla at me, slide into my DMs. I've always wanted to say that.
Sounded pretty good, Jay.
Yeah, my husband's here, so let me tell him, no, babe, I wasn't meaning somebody should slide into my DMs. I meant like never mind. He don't understand.
We got you, Jay. We got you. Hey, listen, everybody, this has been a great conversation with comedian Jaylyn Bishop. And if you have enjoyed the convo, like it and share it and subscribe to the Maurice Brown Comedy Show, as well as any social media engine that Jaylyn Bishop is a part of, as she so accurately described in detail all the avenues that you can take to follow her. And you can also listen to this conversation where all major podcasts are heard: Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, Audible, Google Podcasts, Anchor, you name it, Radiocast, Pocket Cast. We are there. You can check us out. Jaylyn, thank you so much for being on the show. Like I said, this was a great convo. I mean, I didn't cover most of the questions that I wanted to. We're gonna come back and do this again down the road of the future and see if we can iron out some of the glitches. But a great conversation. I think you are an awesome comedian, and I just pray blessings upon you and your family. Thank you so much for being on the show. God bless you.
And don't forget to watch my Drybar.